Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here. So the hype train is quite frankly running away right now. We've got news about patch 1.49. As you can see right here, this is an AD-2 SkyRaider, not ADT. AD-2 SkyRaider, which is going to be one of the most ridiculously well-armored and well-armed ground pounders, basically. This thing is going to be able to carry a lot of ordnance, but we're going to talk about a lot of the additions in terms of new planes and new ground vehicles, because they're not all tanks this time around, which is pretty exciting. That will be coming out in patch 1.49, which is going to be called Weapons of Victory. So hopefully we're going to get to see some dev server footage soon. This is going to be some hype videos, some really good pictures, and some brief discussion. But what we're looking at right now is the AD-2 SkyRaider. This thing is going to be awesome. Historically, it's shot down MiG-17s, it's shot down Lavochkins. Like, this thing has been known to kill jets. Also, I'll have you know, it's even shot down the best plane ever invented. One Po-2 was shot down by a SkyRaider. Furthermore, the SkyRaider has even more exploits to talk about. This thing was the only plane to use and drop torpedoes during the Korean War, when they torpedoed a dam. So you know what, they got that on the resume too. This thing's got a 50-foot wingspan, about 322 mile per hour max speed. It's got 420mm guns, so when you're not unleashing just ridiculous amounts of bombs and rockets, you've got those 420s blazing it out there to use on enemy targets as well. So a little bit, it'll be fun to kind of use it as a fighter bomber. It's definitely more of like the ground attack bomber role, but you do have those 20mm guns available. And you know what, these things have shot down jets in the past. And there are some really good prop planes that will be flying out that we'll discuss later. So it'll be interesting to see these high tier prop planes kind of and how they fit into War Thunder, since we only have a couple right now, but we're kind of getting more and more. So let's go over all of the new aircraft that they've said they're going to add. And this is preliminary, so they may add more, they may take some of these off, who knows. But we've seen the only plane that will be added, or so that they've said so far, for the Americans, and that is the AD-2 SkyRaider. The Russians only have one plane. Well, that's unusual, isn't it? In another Ilyushin 2, this one a 1943 variant. The Germans, you guys are gonna like this. If you love yourselves, you know, some AR-234s, you like that? You know what? Finally, you got one that's actually gonna be decent. This time around, you're gonna have forward and rear firing 20mm cannons, and you're gonna be able to carry 2,000 kilos of bombs, maybe more, who knows. And you know what? You're gonna be faster this time, so it's actually gonna feel like a jet. Isn't that great? They're gonna add a cockpit to the HS-129, the Panzerknacker. That's always good. Now the British are gonna get the most new planes, at least preliminarily, in patch 1.49, the Weapons of Victory. You've got two different Fireflies, which are basically British carrier-based fighters. So that will be pretty cool. You've got the Attacker FB-1, which is a British jet fighter bomber. So if you're really into kind of the ground attack, ground and pound, that's going to be a fun plane for you. There's the Sea Fury FB-11, and they're adding a cockpit to the Canberra bomber. Now if you're Japanese, you do get two planes. The Americans and Russians only got one, so you're not at the end of the line. Britain's ahead of you, but no one else is. You've got the J-2, M-2, and the Ki-21. Now, I thought the Ki-21, I was like, oh, Ki-21, Ki-27, I figure, you know, that's going to be a little prop plane, right? No, this is going to be an early tier heavy bomber. It's got 5 different guns on it, you know, basically gunners. You've got 4 7.7s and 1 12.7, and you're able to carry 1,000 kilos of bombs, so you can definitely see this is going to be a very, very early tier heavy bomber. Now let's get to ground vehicles, because I'm pretty excited about these, because there's some additions that kind of allude to where this game might be going, or what we might see more of in the future. No, there's no British tanks yet. No, there's no French premiums or British premiums or anything like that that I'd love to see, or even Italian premiums. Nothing like that yet, but there are some new additions that I'm crazy excited for. You've got the M2A2, meh, but here's one that's going to be interesting. The 75mm M3 gun motor carriage. That is an armored half-track with a 75mm gun. It's technically considered self-propelled artillery, but since there's no World of Tanks style artillery in the game, you're going to have a 75mm howitzer sticking on the top of this armored car. So you're going to have, well, armored car, I call it armored car because it's not a tank per se. It's kind of a hybrid, I guess. I guess that's the half-track, right? The hybrid armored vehicle. You've got the M-18 Hellcat, which I've put a video out already, so if you haven't checked that out, please do. There's the T-95, the Doom Turtle, and Fly Daily has a great video out on that, so you should definitely check it out. We've got the T-28, and we've got the M10 Wolverine, the M18 Black Cat, which is a premium Hellcat, and then the M5A1 5th Armored Division. I'd imagine that is going to be a premium as well. The Germans, you only get one new armored vehicle, but you can see some really, really nice screens for it right here in the Stu-42G. The Russians have a number of new additions, some of which are pretty exciting, and some of them are just downright terrifying. One very interesting one is the 4M Gaz AAA. I looked this up. It looks like it has 4 like World War I style water-cooled machine guns. So I imagine that to be a very, very low tier, just spray and pray type AAA because it's got 4 water-cooled machine guns. Then you've got the Su-57, and the Su-57 is pretty awesome because it's basically a Lend-Lease M3 half-track, similar to the 75mm M3 gun motor carriage that the Americans have. But the Soviets, you're like, hey, this is a pretty good platform for an anti-tank gun. Let's put our amazing 57mm gun on top of it. So that should be pretty interesting. I like that they're adding more half-tracks in armored vehicles that aren't necessarily oriented just for shooting down aircraft, but instead are tank killers, because I'm a big proponent of them adding armored vehicles, armored cars into the game, like Pumas and stuff that are carrying cannons above 20mm and that are predominantly designed to kind of scout as well as deal with other armored vehicles, not necessarily just shoot down planes. Pretty excited for that. We've got an Su-122-54, yikes, a T-34-85E. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a T-34-85 with spaced armor. Feel free to run and hide. Then you've got the T-34E STZ. The only thing I could really find at a cursory search was that the STZ was a tank plant, because I know there's already a T-34E spaced version in the game. This one maybe not as excessive spaced armor, I'm not really sure. Let me know what you guys think or what you already know. There's an IS-2 called the Revenge, so a premium IS-2. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to run and hide. And then finally, you have the Su-76M, the 5th Guards Cossacks Cavalry version, which I would imagine is a premium Su-76M. So all said and done, pretty excited for all of the new vehicles. As you can see, the AD-2 looks amazing. If I had to pick one vehicle that I'm the most excited for, I'm gonna pick, well, 3 now. I can't just pick one. The Hellcat is number 1, but number 2, tied for number 2, is the Su-57 and the 75mm M3 gun motor carriages. Those M3 half tracks with these tank killing guns on them. That should be pretty exciting. But obviously once dev server goes up, I'll have footage on it over here so you know where to go. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for watching. Make sure to pull the trigger on the like button and let me know which vehicles you're most excited for in patch 1.49 Weapons of Victory. See you soon.